Heartwarming Eve Carol by Berlockery. Chapter 2. Chapter 3. Second Spirit. The doorbell didn't ring once Rarity entered the store, as he found it lying on the floor with crumbled pieces of the wall. Suddenly she regretted losing her calm in destroying it. The white unicorn shook her body once again. Flying through the cold winter night had caused her to attain an uncontrollable shiver. She needed some hot tea in order to fix the issue. So she walked to the kitchen in haste. Rarity forgot all about her freezing body when she saw that there was a pony, which she had never seen before, standing in her kitchen. It was a male earth pony, and he was enormous, probably 3 times the size of Rarity. His coat was dark green, and the tail short and brown. And the pony was hidden behind the refrigerator door. A few grunts and sniffing noises could be heard from him now and again. Rarity observed the stranger with a wrinkle in her nose. She scanned him from hoof to back, wondering how he managed to get into the house. "Can I help you?" The green pony pricked from behind the door of the fridge. He blinked confused like he was surprised to see Rarity standing in her own kitchen, as if he was the one living there and she the intruder.
"Are you back already? That was fast."
The pony closed the door.
"You're Rarity, I presume."
"Yes, I'm ready, but who are you, if I may ask?"
"Does he have anything to eat?"
Your pony opened a cupboard above the kitchen sink. The metal pots rattled as he searched the inside of his gigantic snout. "You must be the second spirit," Rarity resonated. Then she sighed saucily. "Good. Let's get this over with. After you are the only one spirit left, and then I might have time to return to my work."
"We're not going anywhere till I get something to eat."
The spirit put his hoof down to show he meant it.
It's Hearths Eve. You ought to have a whole feast prepared, or at least some marshmallows or candy cane.
Rarity shook her head. "I haven't had time to shop for food. There's pie in the trash can, but I'm afraid it's gone bad." The pony jumped to the trash can and opened the lid. He ransacked the black plastic bag with a hoof and drew an almost eaten pie. It had a sight grease layer atop. Rarity looked it away as he ate it in one mouthful. The pony's burp sounded like a thunderstorm.
It's a shame you don't have anything good to eat. Don't you get hungry?
Rarity had to admit she was feeling a slight craving for food, but her determination to finish her work was even stronger. She could eat in the morning when she hoped to be done, though if her desire to be finished with the design before dawn was to be fulfilled, she had to resume working soon. "Look, my time is short, and—" The Earth Pony cut her off by chuckling with a deep, resounding belly laugh.
You know, I've always known you for less than a minute. I can already tell what kind of pony you are. You're always busy, always in need of a schedule. I mean, you have missed the word time 3 times by now. Why don't you stop worrying about time and try to live in the present?"
Rarity descended her eyebrows. "I can already tell what kind of pony you are as well. You are rude as you are large." "If I say that I have learned my lesson now, will you leave my home? Oh, it'd be a dear to tell the last spirit not to bother me as well."
The other pony chuckled again. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but I'm not doing this for myself. I'm only here to help you. As the spirit of Hearths present, I could show you what you're missing out on, and you might think twice about skipping this holiday."
Rarity rolled her eyes. "Why do I need a spirit to show me the current housewarming Eve? I'm already in the present. I can just go visit my friends and family anytime I want."
"Then why don't you? Afraid that your host will get wet by the snow?"
Rarity couldn't disagree. The mere thought of going out in the cold again caused a slight tremble down her spine. "Because I am busy. I've got a low heart of work behind me thanks to a certain time-traveling Pegasus."
"So you're choosing your work over your friends?"
Rarity hovered dignity. "I am not choosing anything over anyone. It's not like I lose my friends just because I spend one single night working. I can see them any other day of the year." The second spirit nodded understandingly.
"True, but still, it must be troubling you a bit, right? To know that all of your friends are having fun without you. They're having the time of their lives while you sit here alone."
"Spending time apart is essential in any friendship. Understanding its importance is more important in a friendship than the mere gesture of showing up to a gathering. They know I take my career seriously, and I'm sure they understand my decision about skipping Hearthwarming Eve publicly. You know what will disappoint them? If I suddenly ruin my career, lose my job, and wind up poor and destitute."
"Are you?" The airplane grinned. "You cannot know for sure what they're thinking about, how they think about you."
"And I don't need to."
"Really? Aren't you curious about your friends doing, or as they talk about you in this very moment?
Rarity frowned and raised her voice. What kind of sallow, insuccessful pony do you take me for? I don't need to know what my friends are saying behind my back.
Come on, I know you want to.
Unicorn turned away from the spirit. If I do decide to visit my friends, it will be without you there.
You won't be invisible without me. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Rarity. Not only will you find out what you're missing out on, but you'll discover what your friends truly think about you.
Rarity glanced over her shoulder. The spirit's smile rippled across his face, as he knew that she wouldn't get rid of him if she didn't accept. Maybe he was going to steal something from her home, like the first spirit had if she gave him a displeasing answer. She closed her eyes tiresomely and said, I'll get my coat. The snow was falling lightly over the houses of Ponyville. It crunched beneath the two ponies' hooves and created deep round holes, portraying the route that they had taken. The moonlight glistened the surface of the white landscape, and the stars of the sky twinkled peacefully. Rarity was more eager now to see her friends than she was at the beginning of the trip. She couldn't deny it would be somewhat interesting to hear what they were talking about when she wasn't around, even though it was a violation of their privacy. She couldn't shake the feeling of curiosity off her. The spirit stopped once they had reached the library. Rarity remembered receiving an invitation about celebrating Hearthswarming Eve at the library, even though she had already explained to Twilight that she would be too busy with her work. The light from the windows made the snow shimmer with a gill color. Pinkie Pie was busy making snow pancakes on the ground, just outside the front door. Earth Pony and Rarity walked towards the building. Pinkie Pie rose from the ground and shook her body, which created a cloud of powdered snow. Before entering the library, Rarity and the spirit used the opportunity to whoosh inside as well, right before the door closed behind them. Everything was as Rarity expected. A pine tree with a minor decoration took off most of the space in the room. Hearts and garlands hung from the bookshelf. There was a strong smell of burning wood, as an embracing warmth coming from the fireplace. Pinkie Pie's wet hose created a trail of round discs of water on the wooden floor as she walked to her friends who all sat closely to the fire. They were all there. Alpsack, Spike, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash, and Twilight. Even Granny Smith, as well as Apple Bloom, Scootaloo, Sweetie Belle, were all huddled together before the fireplace. Rarity's gaze stopped at the latter, so that's where she had been. All this time, Rarity had been worried sick about why Sweetie Belle hadn't come home yet. And now it turned out just sitting in front of a cozy fire without a care in the world. If she could see Rarity in this moment, she would not have been looking so peaceful. 235 snow pickets are currently located all around Ponyville. That is better show Santa Claus that we mean business, Piggy said, shaking water off her body. She does realize there's no Santa hooves, right? Rainbow Dash whispered to Twilight, who was sitting in an armchair with a long backrest. Twilight shrugged.
Would you look at this?
The spirit began to stroll dreamily towards the long table standing near the stairway. He licked his lips as well, staring fascinated at the food on the table. Rarity couldn't deny her mouth started to water as well. There were all sorts of dishes presented before her. All of them sparkled from the light of the fireplace, and they were all completely untouched. There were cupcakes with frosting of all the colors in the rainbow, showcased on elevated plates. One kind even had rainbow frosting. There were candy canes, freeze-baked pies, caramelized apples, and small chocolate ponies. All the wonderful smells from the table caused Rarity's stomach to rumble. Bent down, was just about to snatch a purple grape with her mouth, when the spirit said,
We're not allowed to take anything.
He was looking so intently at a tall chocolate cake while talking. Rarity wondered if he'd been talking to her or to the cake.
But you could come back later.
She abruptly turned away from the table. It's going to take more than candy and cake to make me celebrate Housewarming Eve. Rarity observed her friends. They all seemed happy and fine without her. But Rarity didn't mind that. That was what she had expected. And for no reason Sweet Belle sighed. She had her eyes half closed while looking down at the carpet. The corners of her mouth pointed downwards. And even though nobody of the ponies surrounding her was looking directly at Sweetie Belle, it was clear she was troubled. They all stopped talking with each other after hearing her moan. There was now a deep silence in the room, almost as thick and cold as the snow outside. I have an idea, Twilight said. Why don't we tell a story? I've already read a great one about Sphinx and Somnambula. What's a Sphinx? Apple Bloom asked with a puzzled expression. A sphinx is a mythological creature that looks somewhat like a lion. It enjoys riddles and conundrums. Ow! Apple Bloom sounded disappointed. Don't you know a story that has a bit of adventure and action? Rainbow Dash asked. You know, something that's not about riddles. Not that I can think of. Oh, I got one! Pinkie Pie raised a hoof. It's about a Pegasus who flies so fast as he travels forward in time. Applejack snorted. That sounds like a terrible idea for a story. And not to mention scientifically impossible, Twilight asked. Well, what about the usual one we tell? Farsight whispered. What about the first heartwarming Eve? Again, the library was filled with a quietness that seemed to go on forever. The only sound was the clock ticking in the corner. Every pony at the fireplace stared down at the floor. Farsight seemed regretful that she hadn't brought up the idea. Rainbow broke the silence. We usually tell that story when we're all together. It's not the same without Rarity. Twilight frowned while poking the side of Rainbow Dash with an elbow. She looked at Sweet Belle, who glanced at the dancing fire with an empty face. Well, I say it! Applejack ascended from the floor, tried towards the entrance door. This has gone on for too long already. We cannot allow her to spend Hearthwarming Eve all by herself. No, Applejack, Twilight murmured. Rarity was very clear when she told me she wanted to skip Hearthwarming Eve. If that's her choice, then there's nothing we can do to change her mind. Rarity looked triumphantly to the spirit. You see, they respect my decision. At least Twilight does. I have to try, Applejack argued. No pony has to be alone this night. She wants to work. You know how important her career is to her. And if that means we have to come in second, then that's just something we have to accept. Come in second? Rarity turned to look to Twilight. You don't come in second. I'm not choosing you over my work. I hope you understand that. Rarity was half expecting an answer, even though she knew Twilight couldn't hear her. She guessed that the bang around the spirit meant that Rarity was inaudible as well as invisible. She could be real stubborn sometimes, Applejack continued. If we don't make her come over here, she's not going to visit us on her own. Twilight sighed. Then she's not coming. We can't force her to do something she doesn't want. Suddenly Sweet Belle huffed, and all the ponies in the room looked at her. You're right about that. If there's something Rarity doesn't want to do, then don't count her to do it. She only wants to spend time doing the things she enjoys. That's not fair, Sweetie Belle, Rarity said. I did plenty of things that she wanted to do. Just last week I took you to the bakery sale, even though I loathed it. The spirit snickered behind her.
I bet you had no trouble telling Sweet Belle your honest opinion about that bake sale.
Rarity stared at him with a scowl. I'll let you know. You're a spirit of the present and not the past. Besides, Sweetie Belle and I are sisters. Are you saying I should be completely honest with my own sister?
There's a difference between the truth and the naked truth.
What's that supposed to mean? Are you trying to reason that it's okay to lie?
Green Pony shrugged. All I'm saying is the truth is a big world. There's no need to consciously focus on the negative part of that world. If I told your sister you enjoy spending time with her, instead of focusing on the fact that you hated the bake sale. I'm certain Sweet Belle is aware of the latter.
Rarity rolled her eyes. All right, I think I learned my lesson now. Can we go then? From the fire bell, Sweet Belle slipped to her host. She works every day of the year. Can't she just let go for once and start to relax for one night? Young Pony exhaled deeply. I usually fooled myself believing that tonight would be tonight. Don't worry, sweetie, Twilight said. So Rarity will come around. You know she cares about you. She just needs some time. Well, how much time does she need? I don't know. We'll talk to her about this tomorrow. Sweet Belle stared at Twilight with irate eyes. I know what she's going to say. I promise that next year is going to be different. We'll celebrate Housewarming Eve next year. But you know what? But next year it's just going to be the same. We forget about Rarity. Applebloom put his hoof on Sweet Belle's shoulder. It always been Hearthwarming Eve less. Now look right, Sweet Belle knocked Applebloom's hoof off your back. You don't understand. I was actually looking forward to spending this time with my sister. She walked away from the fireplace and continued towards the entrance door. Sweetie, where are you going? Verity followed her sister with a frown on her face. Hope you're not. Her sister opened the door, and a cold gust of wind hit their faces. The storm had risen again, sending large snowflakes in the library. Rarity was right behind her, and managed to get out before Sweet Belle slammed the door shut. Haven't I told you not to walk home alone on your own at night, especially not when there's a blizzard? You are going to catch a cold or the flu, and then I'll have to nurse you. If Verity weren't mute to Sweet Belle, she would have a hard time hearing her sister. The howl of the wind drowned out all her sounds. It made it impossible to see where one was going. but that didn't stop Sleepy Belle. She strolled through the snow with a compressed facial expression, concentrating on moving forward. The nearby snow package side had nearly been erased by the wind. Rarity's teeth clattered because of the freeze, and she couldn't stop shaking. She wondered how her sister could stay so rigid and unaffected by the storm. Sweet man, don't walk away when I'm talking to you! Rarity tried to keep up, but the storm was too hard to counter. Suddenly she felt a large hoof on her back. Let her go, the spirit said. No! Rarity kept walking, with her face turned towards the left, her eye closed because of the wind. It was so difficult to locate Sleepy Belle. She used her magic to light up the area, though her sister was nowhere to be found.
If you don't want to remain invisible, you better do what I say.
Rarity yelled in frustration. My sister is mad at me, and I need to talk to her, so you better make me visible again. Otherwise, I'm going to turn you into a pile of dust so fast that you don't know what hit you. The spirit shook his head firmly.
There's still one spirit left.
I don't need another spirit. I get the point. I'm a terrible sister. I should never decide to skip Housewarming Eve. My friends think I'm selfish. It's Sleepy Belle's wandering around in the storm all alone. Now please, turn me back to normal so I can make everything okay again.
You say you want to make things right. What you really mean is that you want to go all back the way it was, right? You don't get, do you? It's never going to be different unless you change.
Despite the invading coldness around her, Rarity could feel her blood grow warmer. You are a very judgmental pony, you know that. Just because I made one bad decision in my entire life, you think you know me, but you don't. The fact that I choose to skip Housewarming Eve doesn't mean I'm a bad person, and it certainly isn't going to turn me into a mannequin. The spirit looked at Rarity, though motionless eyes in a still face. Like Sleepy Belle, he didn't seem to be affected by the storm.
You're right, the spirit said with a thundering voice. This night alone is not will transform you into a mannequin, but it'll get one step closer towards it. It's meant to like this storm of fact.
The pony gestured around him.
One snowflake is not going to create the icy cold that surrounds us. By the time they pile up, one by one they contribute to the cold, growing stronger and fiercer. And time is too late to do anything.
The spirit turned around and walked against the wind of the storm. Rarity could still hear his voice.
What will become of you next year, Rarity? The year after that, and the year after that.
The pony's green coat became less and less noticeable due to the shower of white snowflakes. Rarity blinked. Wait! You can't leave me here! She tried to follow the pony, but his legs were longer than hers, and the wind knocked her backwards.
And the year after that, and the year after that.
The voice of the earth pony was carried by the wind. It was clearly clear in Rarity's ears, even though the pony himself was hidden behind the snowstorm. Slow down! Am I still invisible?
Year after that, year after that.
Suddenly the voice started to dismiss. Only the cry of the blizzard was heard. Rarity started to catch her breath. She squinted in order to locate something green in the sea of snow. Mr. Spirit! She tried, but no one answered. She turned around without knowing what to do. You can't leave me here! I don't know where to go. Final chapter. The Third Spirit. Step by step, Rarity inched through the piles of snow, but kept her head down in order to minimize the impact from the storm. Where's a Pegasus when you need one? Will someone please stop this hideous blizzard? She called skywards. Wonder if Vane and Pegasi were working tonight. Who am I kidding? I'm the only one who works on Housewarming Eve. But then, as if someone heard her, the storm began to subside. The snow was still falling thick flakes, but at least the wind was almost non-existent now. Rarity looked around, but still had no idea where she was. This layer of snow made it look like she was walking through a forest of white trees. She could barely see a hoof in front of her face. Any minute now, she would walk headfirst into a building. All of a sudden, there was a change in the dull whiteness. A black figure could be spotted through the curtains of the snow. It was not very tall, but not very familiar either. Rarity ran towards it nonetheless. As she got closer, she noticed it looked similar to the shape of a pony. The figure shared comparable properties to Rarity, though it remained completely black when she was only a few feet away from it. A white layer of snow was piling on top of it. The pony-like figure was standing so still that Rarity considered it might be a statue, but that couldn't be true. There were no black statues in Ponyville. Rarity noticed it was wearing a black cloak with a large hood that covered its entire face. She tried to peek from underneath the hood, though there was only darkness to be seen. Hello, Rarity greeted. The hooded pony did not answer. It just continued to stare at Rarity from beneath the cloak. Slowly he turned around and walked away. Rarity didn't follow it. She just gazed in fascination at the sight, unable to move, when the pony looked behind its shoulder. Rarity pointed to her chest and said, "Do you want me to join you?" The hooded pony nodded. Then it looked ahead and resumed its walk. Rarity wandered beside it, still staring captivated at the pony. "Are you the last spirit?" No answered. "You're going to show me Hearths Eve of the future, right?" Rarity politely awaited a response, but it never came. When she had been dealing with the second spirit, she thought she would appreciate a spirit that didn't talk. Now she realized that silence was worse than anything he had said. "The first spirit was a Pegasus, the second an Earth pony, so I'm guessing you're a unicorn?" The third spirit still wouldn't talk. "Well, as a fellow unicorn, I could bet you could comprehend the implications of the creative business. It's not easy, I tell you. The season is terrible for my field. It's so difficult to come up with a design that's both practical and masterable." The silence that followed quickly grew awkward, so Rarity decided to speak again. "So what if I'm choosing to decide to skip Halloween Eve 1 year? Yes, I understand why City Bell's mad about it, but still come around. As soon as I'm done with my work, I'll do something she enjoys." The two ponies watched for what felt like an hour. Rarity saw the snow around her begin to glimmer in a slightly blue shine. She looked to the sky where the moon was gleaming brightly, unhidden by the clouds. "It stopped snowing," Rarity said. She was able to perceive her surroundings, and noticed that she was in the middle of Ponyville. Town Hall was right before her, covered by snow just like it was when Rarity and the second spirit had walked to the library. Everything was tranquil and silent. The spirit had stopped moving, and now it was staring ahead, like its mind was heavy with thoughts. "Are we in the future now?" Rarity asked carefully. Unsurprisingly, the clothed figure said nothing. Rarity had to close her eyes and clench her jaws tightly, in order to keep her frustration restrained. At least the other spirits were not shy to give her some information. Like whether or not she had been traveling through time. One thing was to delay her work, another was to keep quiet about it. "On the bright side, you're not going to preach to me about what a horrible person I am." Suddenly there was a sound. Rarity twisted her ear and tried to locate what it was. It was girly voices, and they were coming closer. She turned around and saw two ponies walking around through the snow while talking. Rarity strolled towards them while craning her neck. The two ponies walked through the keen-eyed snow on the town hall. One of them was a pink earth pony with a green mane. The other was a Pegasus with long blue hair and a thick coat. "I just really wish my husband brought me that gown for housewarming. It's beautiful yet practical," the earth pony said. "I have heard that she is working on a new line of winter outfits." "Oh, then maybe it wouldn't be that good if he has bought it, then. All her clothes are so expensive. I like the new line better." "Don't worry, they're going to be sold at Canterlot first. It'll take months before we see them in Ponyville." "Canterlot?" Rarity suffered her ears, even more than she had heard the word. "Do you know she'll come home to Ponyville during the holidays?" the Pegasus asked. "I mean, it's not that long ago since she moved." The Earth Pony shook her head. "Don't count on it. And she's been visiting Ponyville ever since her breakthrough. You know, when she decided to focus on winter clothes." Rarity began to smile. There was no doubt she began talking about her. They mentioned Canterlot. Rarity was going to be living in Canterlot in the future? The near future, it seemed. "It's clear that these ponies have taste," Rarity grinned to the spirit, though it kept ignoring her. Rarity didn't care, though. Her body was tingling with excitement, as she continued to follow the ponies with a high-step canter. "But it's Hearths Eve. Her family lives in Ponyville. Isn't she going to visit them?" The Earth Pony shrugged. "Rarity doesn't celebrate Hearths Eve." "She doesn't?" "She hasn't done it since her first international success. She spent one Hearthwarming Eve in working instead of celebrating. Right after that, her clothes became famous in all of Equestria. Now she believes it means bad luck to celebrate it." The Pegasus laughed. A shrill noise cut like ice in Rarity's ears. "Bit weird, isn't she? All the best artists are eccentric." Rarity felt a cold hoof on her shoulder. She turned around in a snap. The cloak-wearing spirit was right behind her, resting a snow-covered hoof on Rarity. I turned around and walked the opposite direction of the Earth Pegasus and Pony. Rarity saw them continue ahead to the alley. "If you want me to follow you, just say so." She frowned while dusting the snow off her shoulder. She strolled right behind the spirit, who was sauntering slowly through the dark village. "So let me get this straight. I'm a successful designer. I am living in Canterlot, and assuming you're making a ton of money." "That doesn't sound like a mannequin to me at all," Rarity shrugged. "I don't know why, but I had imagined you were going to show me a future I wouldn't like." The spirit continued to a very familiar neighborhood. The distance between the houses began to enlarge. Rarity understood where they were heading. They rounded the corner of a flower shop. The Carousel Boutique came into view. The first thing Rarity noticed was Sweetie Belle. She wore a scarf to keep her warm, as well as yellow boots. Hadn't changed very much, maybe her inch or two taller than usually. But despite this being the future, her sister looked pretty much like herself. Sweetie Belle was standing before the boutique, glaring at the building without moving a muscle. There were stairs on the windows and a wooden sign on the door read close. Rarity tried faster towards her sister. She could not see her face, though Rarity guessed she probably didn't look too pleased. "What are you doing here all by yourself, Sweetie Belle?" As if her sister had heard her, Sweetie Belle turned around. Her gaze was stiff, her face frozen in an empty expression. Even though she was looking towards Rarity, their eyes did not meet. "Hello," Sweetie Belle whispered. Rarity looked around the corner and saw Apple Bloom walking through the snow. Staring at the boutique is not going to make her come. Sweetie Belle kept her head down and looked at the snow. "I don't know what you're talking about." Apple Bloom passed Rarity on her way to Sweetie Belle. "You must be freezing out here. Why did you come back to the farm? Rarity's going to return for Carolina tomorrow. I'm sure of it." "Well, I'm not." "She promised you she would, wouldn't she?" "No. She promised me that she would come home tonight. Obviously she's forgotten." Sweetie Belle ran a hoof across the snow. "It doesn't mean you had to spend Hearthswarming Eve all on your own. You have us, remember? Your friends." "Whatever." Sweetie Belle turned around and walked away from the Carousel Boutique. Her eyes were slightly closed as she joined Apple Bloom. The two villagers sauntered back to the village. Rarity resolved to herself. "Okay, I get it. When I become a star and open my father's store in Canterlot, I will find time to visit my sister more often." She smiled brightly to the spirit. "Can we go home?" The spirit didn't answer. Rarity imagined that, staring at her spitefully underneath the hood of a black cloak. Her smile began to diminish. She looked back from side to side, awaiting something to happen. As nothing seemed to occur, Rarity began to growl, with slightly of frustration. She started to stare at the cloaked figure with annoyance. "I'm sorry. Seeing Sweetie Belle like this really makes me want to do something for her. I'm not going to skip Housewarming Eve ever again. Do you understand? I have changed. But you did transfer me back to my own time so I can prove I mean it." The spirit simply stared back with empty darkness. "Look, there's nothing more for you to show me. I get the picture. I have to visit my sister more often when I become a success. I remember that, honestly." The black robed pony instead raised a leg, pointing towards the facade of Carousel Boutique. Rarity followed the line with a pointing hoof towards her eyes. She walked to the window of her former home and saw a page of a newspaper that attached to the window. Rarity quickly scanned a piece of the paper. Discovered it was an interview between herself and the reporter of the paper. She read a few paragraphs until she read a section when her eyes widened and mouth go dry. "After your breakthrough with last winter, there have been rumors of you thinking of opening a department in Caroline. Is that true?" "Of course it's true. In fact, I'm in the middle of closing down my boutique in Ponyville. I've already had my going away party. That was disastrous to say the least." "Why was this disastrous?" "Well, you know, Ponyville's a small town. It's obvious they do not appreciate the art of proper fashion. It's nothing like Canterlot, you must understand. Boys are just more envious in the village, I guess. None of my former friends seemed interested in attending my party. They grew distant from me ever since I became famous." Rarity had to step a few feet away from the window. She didn't believe it. Apparently her friends had decided to stay away from her farewell party. Looks like she had decided to skip Hearthswarming Eve. "Sweetie Belle doesn't want to visit me in Canterlot," Rarity said out of nothing. "Neither does my friends. They want me to come home, to be who I was." She wandered away from the window, looking to the village. The chimney smoke and the light layer of snow on the houses hadn't changed. Ponyville looked exactly as Rarity remembered it. "It doesn't really matter that I decided to skip Hearthswarming Eve," she realized. "The amount of time I spend with my sister and friends doesn't matter. Nothing I do will change anything. It's me who needs to change. Otherwise, this will be my future." Rarity looked at the spirit. "Right?" The other pony nodded. "It's just my definite future, then. Is there nothing I can do to make it okay? I mean, I am who I am, and there's nothing there to take and do to change that, is there?" The spirit kept quiet like the night. "Please tell me this is not how things are going to turn out. There must be some way out of this. I don't want to leave my friends or sister behind. If that's the consequence of my success, then I'm sure I want to experience it." Suddenly, the top of the black hood began to glow. A purple light was emitted from beneath the fabric. Rarity squinted as she saw the outline of a unicorn's horn. Purple light shot from the pony. Rarity closed her eyes, and everything became dark. The moonlight shine was the first thing Rarity saw as she slowly ascended her eyelids. Everything around her was painted in the same silvery color. It took her a while to figure out where she was. She had to blink a few times for her eyes to adjust. Dizzy saw that she was lying down on the second floor of Carousel Boutique. Rarity stretched her body and yawned. She found herself on the red divan. When all of a sudden, she remembered it all. The mannequin, the white Pegasus Earth pony, not to mention the cloaked unicorn. Quickly, Rarity looked underneath the divan and found the photo album in its correct place. She smiled and jumped off the furniture. Only then did she discover her headache from earlier had returned. She put a huff in order to calm down. It's all a dream. Although it felt real. Her body had still been cold, as she'd been in a snowstorm recently. Could it really have been something she imagined? What time is it? Rarity looked at the window. The moon was still high in the sky, and Rarity gasped. And that's when Luna looked down and said, Today? Why, it's Christmas Day! Bloop! I always wanted to say that line! Is it also being